Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Grateful Rose River Homestead channel. It's been a long weekend. Had a nice weekend, Labor Day weekend. Today's Monday, Labor Day. Hope you all had an enjoyable, safe Labor Day. And for all those who put the sweat on their brow and blood on their hands and worked their butts off, happy Labor Day to you all. And yeah, nothing much going on around here. We've been under rain pretty much all weekend. I mean, it's been literally raining the whole time. Um, yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy weekend. Like I said, we've had more rain here. I see things going on out in the Midwest with the, droughts, and here and on the East Coast, we're getting flood warnings and just flooding. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it really is crazy. Tomorrow I'll be staining the kitchen table and the benches and seats in the kitchen. I'll be staining them. They'll probably be part of this clip here, so you'll see me staining tomorrow. But I just thought an intro would be a good way to start off with wishing everyone a happy Labor Day. Today is Monday. Tonight I am fixing some steak and mushrooms on the old Barbie. And now you're like, what? Well, it's an Australian term, the old grill. I'm throwing some steaks on the grill, having some good mushrooms, and Paisley girls, she's going to make some hash browns, and it's going to be a good time. We just, like I said, today, right now, it's not raining. I did get a warning that we are under a severe thunderstorm warning. Yay! That's all it's done all weekend is rain, rain, rain. Earlier day, it's just been raining nonstop. Sorry. Dexter sitting over here, and here, Dexter, come here. You want to say hi? Say hi. You can't see anymore, unfortunately. He's pretty much blind in one of, maybe both of his eyes. We were not 100% sure on one. We know one of them, he can't see at all, and he gets scared. I mean, could you imagine losing your vision and suddenly you're just scared? And Gypsy just came down here. She's jealous that she can't get on the video. So he gets scared real easy because he can't see, and he loses that sensory. And so he kind of gets scared. But he's been a good boy, haven't you, Dexy? Yeah. Says I'm Daddy's boy. Supposed to be Mommy's boy, but he's really Daddy's boy. He loves his daddy. He'll sit there in the living room, just sit there and bark and bark and bark. And all I have to do is say, come here, listen to Daddy's voice, and he will. He takes him a little bit of time because he tries to figure out where I am. But once he hears my voice, he'll follow it until he gets it to me, don't ya? Yeah. So I'm a good boy. So, anyways, we'll see you on the next clip, alright? Happy Labor Day again to all you. Good morning. Well, next day after Labor Day weekend, most of us are all feeling a little sluggish, like, oh, the week is going to fly by. We're going to probably mess up like, well, today's Wednesday, You know how it is after a long weekend like that, especially when you're off on Labor Day. If you were lucky to be off yesterday, healthcare workers, unfortunately, are always on the job. You know, a lot of times when there was Labor Day or 4th of July, Christmas and stuff, I had to work. So, I feel your pain. But for a lot of you, you were off yesterday. Alright, so this is the kitchen table. Now, before anyone judges, I am not a perfect person, okay? The one thing that I want to state is, and I know that a lot of people are going to comment, why do you sand this down, Papa Bear? Well, the exact reason is this. If I wanted a brand new table, a beautiful table, with no history, then I would have sanded this down. But this has a lot of history. The previous owners had this table in their home with the benches over there. So we're going to basically add another protection to this, kind of make it a little bit new, but it's still going to have some of the scratches and the age look of it. My wife's like, well, aren't you going to sand that down? And I'm like, no. If I wanted to, I could. I could sand this down and make it all nice and smooth and perfect looking, but it's got little cracks and crevices in here that I don't want to take away from the age of the table. So that's the reason why we're not going to sand any of this down. We're just basically adding another top coat. This is going to probably be a little darker than what was on here originally, so it's going to give it more of a mystique look. It's going to give it more of an aged look. When I see this table, it reminded me of, if you ever see the old days of the colony days, or, you know, they're in the pub, or, you know, they're in the, not so much saloon, but the old days is when they sit around the table with a metal cup. That's what this table reminds me of. And so the chairs and our captain chairs are really solid wood. They just need to be touched up. So that's the reason why we're not going to sand any of this down. It's going to keep the age and the look of this table. And plus it gives the history, you know, keeps the history in the wood. Like I said, if I wanted a brand new table, then I would just sand this down. But I don't want it looking brand new. Several things you're going to need is, you're going to definitely need a drop cloth to put underneath the table, so that way it catches any spills, especially if you have a nice floor like we have been here in the living room. And so we want to make sure that we don't have any spills on the floor. You're going to need a pair of gloves for staining. They can be latex, they can be rubber gloves, whatever you want to use, but you need a pair of gloves. And yes, ladies, this color here would be perfect for fall, so you could dip your nails in this, and you would have like the best looking fall nails you could have. So if you're into fall colors, this might be perfect for your nails, ladies, so you might want to just not wear gloves. You're going to need a brush, no special brush. You'll need a screwdriver to get the can open, and a towel to keep any, if you would suddenly get a drip on the floor. But I have the tarp wide enough on both sides and long enough on both front and the end, so that way we can make sure no drops get there. But if we have it, old junky towel. Make sure you also have, especially with staining, some junky clothes, stuff you're not worried about getting ruined. So make sure you have some pair of old clothes on, so that way you don't ruin any nice clothes. So what we're going to do is we're going to stain this with one coat first. Now it says here it will dry in 1 hour. I have 2 fans going, as you can hear. So we have 2 fans also for ventilation, especially if you're going to do this in the house. Make sure you have some of the windows open. With stain, you're going to smell a strong stain smell in your house. It doesn't bother me. I like the smell of stain. So make sure you shake the can really good. I've already been shaking this up really good. Then we're going to see how one coat looks. I'm going to do the sides, the front, and the top. Now I'm not planning on doing the bottom today, because I want to get these captain chairs done and the one bench. Now there is another bench, but it did not have that much scratches or any dents and stuff like that on it, because it was sitting against the wall majority of the time of his life. I think that's where it was sitting most of the time, so that bench is not that bad. If I have enough stain, after I do the top of this table and the benches, and I still have enough, then I will go back and I'll probably do the other bench. But right now we're going to just do the table, let it dry and see how it looks. If it needs another coat, I will give it another coat. I don't think I'm going to need to do another coat because it says one coat application. So we're hoping that this will be enough stain to do the table, the 2 benches, or the bench and the 2 captain chairs. Because I can always go back down the road, later down the road, and stain the bottom halves of the table. Like I said, you're not really seeing the bottom of the table anyway. But if I have to, I can always go back and do the bottom of the table. So today we're just going to do the top of the table, the 2 captain chairs, and the bench, and that'll be it today. And hopefully I'll have enough to do the other bench. I keep saying 2 benches, so let's get started. So I'll put on your nice little pair of gloves. Again, we really utilized stuff that was left behind by the previous owner. There was a bag of these gloves out there. They're nothing special. They're just a pair of gloves. And I did have rubber gloves, and I left the box out in the barn, so I was like, well, I already got these in, so I was like, I'll just use these. So comment down below and tell me what you did over the holiday. Now we're just going to put this lid down here on the tarp, out of sight, out of mind. So let me know what you did down below. Comment down below and tell me what you did over the Labor Day weekend. Like I said yesterday, we did very little. It was raining here. We didn't really have any. The kids were sick, and none of them wanted to come to Mom and Papa's house because they were busy, sick. And so we're just going to give it a solid stroke on the table. Try to keep it as even as possible. We're going to fill in any of these cracks in the table with a stain. It doesn't take much stain to do this. That's the nice thing about stain. Just going to keep going back and forth, even strokes as much as possible. Kind of going down the side here. Like I said, it doesn't take much to do this. And like I said, this is a way to kind of give your kitchen table a new look. If you're into, if you have a table where you can stain it, you don't really want to go out and spend the money to buy a new table. This table was already left here by the owner, and we actually asked about if she was planning on leaving it, and she said yes. And we were really excited about it because we did like the table look. It kind of went with the kitchen, and we had a kitchen table and chairs. They're still in storage. We'll be getting them out. As you can see, I'm going down. There are 3 panels here, so we're just going to go down one panel and do all the little holes, fill them in. It's already looking really nice. You don't want to put this on too thick, but you don't want to put it on too thin. It's not to be perfect either. Like I said, if I wanted something perfect, I would, buy a table that is all brand new looking. And with this table here, I've never seen a table look like this, so I was really excited about keeping it. We had a tablecloth on it. For the previous owner had it on it when I was like, well, it's getting kind of winter time, it's getting fall time. I have table runners and stuff like that, and I like to put on the table. And so when I took it off, the tablecloth, I saw that it definitely needed some updating. And so that's what the plan is here, and that's what we're doing here. Now we're just going to come back down here. And you want to keep this on an even stroke as much as possible. Like I said, we're going to see what one coat looks like. What I can tell so far, it's looking really good. Now I'm going to go down the sides and the front of the table after we get done with the top of it. I find this very enjoyable. Keep going back and forth. Like I said, it's okay if it drips down in between the cracks. Like in this table setting, or in this table, there's cracks in between. It's okay if it goes down between it. Because there is a drop cloth on the floor, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Any spills or anything like that, or drips or anything from the table. Kind of get that spot again. And you don't want to leave any bubbles. Try to get any bubbles out of here. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not your, I'm just your average Joe here, trying to make the kitchen table look a little bit newer, but keeping some of the dings in it. And like I said, I could have easily went over this with a sander and made it really smooth and got all the little dings that, you know, from the previous owner had in it, but it would took it away from making it look like it's been aged for a while. Like I said, we just want to make this look a little newer without taking away any of the characteristics of the table. Alright, now I was just thinking as I was started up here, I just want to go back over here a little bit. I gotta have a place to set the can. It makes it a little harder. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hit the front of the table here. This is where it really has a little bit of damage to it, but that's okay. With the stain, it'll cover all that up and make it look almost like this is a new table, but there's still going to be the dings and stuff in the table that's going to make it look a little like it's aged table. Now that we got that side done, sorry, you see back of my head. I'm going to come over here and then I'm going to try not to get any drips on the top where I just went over. This also is going to protect it for another couple years. People, you know, eating and drinking on the table, and you know how grandkids can be, you know, spills and stuff like that happens. This will also protect it. So it's going to give this table a lot more life in it than not treating it at all. Yeah, this is looking really nice. And it's drying really, really good, actually. Now, as we come down here, we're going to go ahead and do the sides as I go down, since I already did the front and that side over there. And what I'll do is, after we get done with the top here, I'm going to let it sit for an hour. Then I'll bring you back and see if it needs another coat. What I can tell right now, it might need another coat, because it's really dripping this wood up, or stain right up. Now I could have went with the lighter stain that that was the original color of this table, but I thought the darker color would be a little bit better looking, because we have a lot of wood accent in the kitchen itself, so it'll kind of go together in the kitchen. And I'm just going over this to kind of make sure all the little holes and pinholes that are in this table, the getting filled in as well. You try to keep your strokes all the same direction, it will all come out looking really good. I don't know if you can see Gypsy, but she's on the other side here, and she's sitting here just patiently watching Dad stain the table, aren't you, girl? Are you guys getting excited for fall time? I know I am. I love fall time. You know, I love sitting around the campfire. The leaves are piled around the, around the yard. And it's always my favorite time of the year, and especially this time around because we have our own house in the country, which I'm excited for. Now I'm going to take this and set it right over here. Bring over stain. Now this part of the tarp is not here. Now I could have moved the chair over, yes. Maybe I should, but like I said, we have a towel. What's interesting about this stain is I didn't know this because I used a different brand. And I'm just going back over this, kind of smoothing it out. Like I said, you don't want to look too bubbly. You don't want to make sure there's no I used a different brand. When we moved in here, the wall, if you saw the tour of the house when you came in, the mudroom, I guess I better talk as I do it. There's a wall right there. It's a dark wall. Now was a door at the time on there. The door was really damaged. It had a lot of damage to it. Plus, I didn't want a door there. First of all, there's a fireplace. That's where our stove's at, and it's going to be letting the heat in here during the winter months. Also, so anyways, getting basically to the nut of the story here is I used stain on the wall because it had damages too, and I stained out some of the real bad dents and damage to the wall. Stained that whole wall, and it looks so nice. Plus we had so many pictures and stuff, so I wanted to make sure we utilized that wall as much as possible. Okay. Now we're going to let this dry for an hour, and then I will bring you back. Here's where the towel can come in handy. We're just going to set the brush right on the towel. And we're going to close up the stain. I see something here that I want to touch real quick. Like I said, I'm not here to tell you that I'm about to be the painter or anything like that. I see that there's still some brown right here along the creases. So I'm going to go over that real quick here. Kind of draw some of that stain down through the crack. Like that. And then I'm going to go back over with a smooth stroke as much as possible. I think we're definitely going to have to use another coat. Definitely going to need another coat for sure. Alright, so I'm going to bring you back here in about an hour. Of course, I didn't put my watch on. But an hour from now, we'll come back and I will either have already put the second coat on and moved on to the other. So I'm not going to show you the staining the second coat, but I will bring you back when I have the bench on here. And this is moved off to the side, letting it get finished drying. Like I said, it's going to take about an hour, so we're going to let it sit for an hour. And then I will come back and stain it. And then the next time you see will be me staining the bench. And then I will do the captain chair last. Alright?